Crescent Bay, a jewel on the rugged coastline, shimmered under the sun. But beneath the idyllic facade, secrets simmered. The heart of Crescent Bay beat within its people, their lives entangled like driftwood on the shore. Jonathan Harper, a man of power and presence, was as much a part of Crescent Bay as the tides themselves. Yet, beneath the polished veneer, a darkness lurked. Whispers of corruption followed him like shadows, whispers that he ruthlessly silenced. Perched atop a windswept cliff, the Crescent Bay lighthouse stood sentinel, its beacon a guiding light for generations of sailors.
The invitation piqued my curiosity, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the mayor had ulterior motives.
A retreat, huh? Sounds like the perfect opportunity to push my plans for Crescent Bay forward.
I arrived with my own agenda, eager to dig deeper into the rumors of corruption surrounding Mayor Harper.
The lighthouse welcomed its guests with open arms, its stone walls whispering tales of storms weathered and lives saved.
The days here blend together, filled with walks along the cliffs and stories shared by the fire.
Every meal, every glass of wine, it feels like a calculated move by Harper.
Conversations here are a dance, each word measured, each glance a clue.
As the sun dipped below the horizon each night, the dynamics between the guests shifted like the tides.
Emily Carter, her keen mind always seeking knowledge, found herself drawn to Lucas Harper.
Thomas Green, his ambition as relentless as the sea itself, focused his attention on Rachel Lawson.
The tension between the Harper brothers, palpable as the salt air, hung heavy in the air.
As the weekend progressed, a sense of unease settled upon the group, as tangible as the approaching fog.
Whispers of past grievances and long-held secrets seeped into conversations, poisoning the once pleasant atmosphere.
Emily, ever the astute observer, noticed the subtle changes in Mayor Harper's demeanor.
The storm raged outside, a furious symphony of wind and rain lashing against the lighthouse windows.
The dining table, once a stage for convivial conversation, became a battleground of unspoken tension.
Jonathan, his face pale and drawn, seemed distant, lost in thought.
Rachel, observing the unfolding drama with a journalist's keen eye, felt a knot of unease tighten in her stomach.
The storm reached its crescendo, a deafening roar that shook the lighthouse to its core.
Jonathan, his nerves frayed to the breaking point, abruptly pushed back his chair and disappeared into the stormy night.
Lucas, his face an unreadable mask, remained silent, his gaze fixed on the door through which his brother had vanished.
Rachel, her reporter's instincts kicking in, began to pace the room, her mind racing.
The fog, thick and heavy as a shroud, rolled in from the sea, swallowing the lighthouse whole. Panic began to set in. Emily, her voice trembling, tried to contact the mainland by radio, but the storm interfered. As the hours crawled by, the guests huddled together in the living room, their faces lit by the flickering flames of the fireplace. The lighthouse, once a beacon of hope, had become a prison of fear, its walls closing in, suffocating them with their own suspicions. Dawn broke over Crescent Bay, painting the sky in hues of gray and lavender.
Lucas, his face pale and drawn, remained silent, his gaze fixed on the swirling fog outside.
Rachel Lawson, her reporter's instincts piqued by the mystery, immediately agreed.
Emily Carter, her pragmatic nature taking over, took charge. We need to search for Mayor Harper, see if we can find any sign of him. The search began in the mayor's study, a room that exuded an air of quiet authority.
Emily, her keen eye for detail, noticed a discrepancy in the room's otherwise impeccable order.
"This isn't right," she murmured, her voice barely a whisper as she knelt down, carefully examining the broken glass.
Rachel, drawn by Emily's quiet exclamation, joined her side. She noticed a glint of something silver amidst the shattered glass.
The discovery of the tie clip sent a shiver down Rachel's spine. It was a small detail, easily overlooked, but it spoke volumes. It hinted at a confrontation, a possible struggle between the brothers. Had their simmering resentment finally boiled over, the storm merely a backdrop for a more sinister drama?
She glanced at Lucas, who stood by the window, his back to them, his shoulders slumped as if carrying an unbearable weight. His silence, once brooding, now seemed laced with guilt, his every breath a testament to a secret he desperately wanted to keep hidden.
Emily, sensing the shift in the room's atmosphere, placed a comforting hand on Rachel's arm. "We need to be careful," she whispered, her voice low and urgent. "This changes things. We need to find out what happened between those brothers, but we need to tread carefully. The truth, I suspect, is far more complicated than it appears."
As they continued their search, a sense of unease settled over them. The lighthouse, once a symbol of safety and guidance, now felt oppressive, its stone walls whispering secrets of a past that refused to remain buried. The fog outside seemed to press in, a tangible manifestation of the mystery that enveloped them, a mystery that stretched back generations, its roots tangled in the very foundations of Crescent Bay.
The lighthouse, shrouded in fog and steeped in secrets, seemed to close in on them. The air hung heavy, thick with unspoken accusations and the weight of the unknown. Emily, her mind sharp despite the growing unease, refused to let fear paralyze her. The answer, she knew, lay hidden somewhere within these ancient walls.
She examined the mayor's study once more, her gaze sweeping over the bookshelves, the nautical charts, the framed photographs that spoke of a life lived in the shadow of this lonely tower. There had to be something, some clue that would unlock the secrets of that fateful night.
As she ran her fingers along the edge of a shelf, her heart skipped a beat. A faint click echoed in the silent room. A section of the bookshelf, perfectly disguised as part of the wall, swung inward, revealing a dark, narrow opening. A hidden chamber, its existence unknown to the outside world.
"Rachel, come here," Emily whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "I think we found something."
Together, their hearts pounding in unison, they stepped into the darkness, the musty scent of stale air and forgotten secrets washing over them. The hidden chamber, illuminated by a single flickering lantern, seemed to breathe with a life of its own. Time seemed to stand still as they delved deeper into the chamber's secrets. Hours passed unnoticed as they pored over old documents, each page revealing another piece of the puzzle, another layer of the elaborate tapestry that was Crescent Bay's history. They discovered journals and ledgers, their pages filled with cryptic entries that hinted at a hidden fortune, a legacy built on deceit and betrayal. It became clear that Jonathan Harper had not only been aware of these secrets, but had been consumed by them. His life's work dedicated to unraveling the truth behind his family's legacy. Jonathan was obsessed with this, Emily murmured, her voice filled with a mixture of sadness and understanding. He believed that his ancestors had cheated their way into wealth, that their fortune was built on lies. He wanted to make things right, to atone for the sins of the past. Rachel, her mind racing, pieced together the fragments of information. The mayor's sudden wealth, his obsessive interest in the town's history, his strained relationship with his brother. It all pointed to a dark secret, a truth that Jonathan had been desperate to uncover. The fog outside swirled, a silent witness to the storm brewing within the lighthouse. Emily and Rachel emerged from the hidden chamber, their faces pale with the weight of their discovery. The knowledge of the hidden fortune, of the generations of deceit, hung heavy in the air, suffocating them with its implications. Lucas sat in the living room, his gaze fixed on the empty fireplace, his face a mask of conflicting emotions. He had been strangely absent during their exploration, his silence a deafening roar in the confined space. When Emily and Rachel revealed their findings, his reaction was not one of surprise, but of a grim acceptance, as if he had always known, deep down, the truth that lay buried beneath years of family secrets. The sound of the front door creaking open sliced through the tense quiet. Jonathan stood on the threshold, his clothes damp from the receding fog, his face etched with a weariness that spoke of a long night spent battling inner demons.
Lucas, we need to talk.
I believe we do.
Lucas remained seated, his gaze unwavering. "I believe we do," he replied, his voice devoid of its usual warmth, replaced by a chilling calmness that sent a shiver down Emily's spine. The confrontation, as expected, was explosive.
Accusations and recriminations flew across the room like daggers, each brother wielding their pain and resentment like weapons forged in the fires of their shared past.
Lucas, desperate to make amends for the sins of our ancestors, I spoke of using the hidden fortune for the betterment of Crescent Bay, of finally breaking free from the cycle of deceit.
Jonathan, however, I remain unconvinced. Years of estrangement, of feeling like an outsider in my own family, have hardened my heart. I see only your success, your easy charm, and feel only the sting of my own perceived failures. You are a hypocrite, trying to rewrite history while benefiting from the very sins you claim to condemn.
Unbeknownst to the brothers, their every word was overheard. Thomas Green, driven by his insatiable greed, had been lurking in the shadows, drawn back to the lighthouse by the whispers of a hidden fortune. He had seen the brothers' animosity, sensed the opportunity to exploit their fractured bond for his own gain.
As the argument reached its peak, a struggle ensued. A lamp crashed to the floor, plunging the room into darkness. A muffled cry pierced the air, followed by the sickening thud of a body hitting the ground.
Silence descended, heavy and absolute, broken only by the sound of the waves crashing against the cliffs below. Section 3, The Truth Unveiled.
Emily and Rachel stumbled back, their hearts pounding in their chests, their minds struggling to process the scene unfolding before them. When the lantern light flickered back to life, revealing the prone figure on the floor, a collective gasp escaped their lips.
Jonathan lay still, his eyes staring vacantly at the ceiling, a dark stain blooming on his chest.
Lucas stood frozen, his hands shaking, his face a mask of shock and disbelief. The tie clip, the one they had found earlier, lay glinting on the floor, stained crimson, a silent witness to the tragedy.
"It wasn't me," Lucas whispered, his voice hoarse with shock. "I swear I didn't kill him."
Just as despair threatened to consume them, Emily noticed something out of place. A glint of metal beneath the overturned table caught her eye. It was a gun, a small pearl-handled pistol, discarded and forgotten in the chaos. And it wasn't Lucas's. In that moment, a chilling realization washed over her.
Thomas Green, driven by his greed, had seized the opportunity presented by the brothers' fight. He had intervened, intending to incapacitate them both and claim the hidden fortune for himself. But in the darkness, in the heat of the moment, a miscalculation had been made, a life taken, a tragedy set in motion. Section 1, The Fog of Deception clears.
The fog, as if mirroring the unveiling of the truth, began to dissipate. Fingers of sunlight pierced through the gloom, casting an ethereal glow over the lighthouse.
Thomas Green, his face pale and etched with horror, stumbled back.
Emily, her gaze steady and filled with sorrow, approached Thomas.
"This tells a different story, Mr. Green," she said, her voice weary.
Section 2, The Weight of Truth.
The arrival of the Coast Guard shattered the silence that had enveloped the lighthouse. The sound of the helicopter blades slicing through the fog was a stark reminder of the world outside. Emily stood before the hidden chamber, its secrets spilled out like whispers on the wind. Tucked away lay a leather-bound journal filled with Jonathan's elegant script. With a heavy heart, Emily closed the journal, the weight of Jonathan's words settling upon her.
Section 3, A New Dawn, A New Legacy.
The news of Jonathan Harper's death sent shockwaves through Crescent Bay. As the days turned into weeks, the fog of grief and uncertainty began to lift. Lucas, forever changed by the events, stepped into the role his brother had left vacant. The lighthouse became a beacon of hope once more. In the end, it was a story about facing the past and embracing a brighter future.